Hey everybody, Mark here at Gilbert Realty. I'm so happy you stopped by today. I'm going to cover the Villages today. Yes, there's more discounts going on in the newer section of the Villages. Prices are coming down, so expect probably pre-existing inventory, existing home sales to drop. You don't really have a choice. When the builders start lowering the prices, what's going to follow is everything else in the area that's competing with them. So that's going on. A couple weeks ago, I did a video, and you'll find it in my profile. I did a video on the Villages listing houses in Newell, new, haven't sold yet, marking them down pretty good. One was even up to 50K. So they are realizing the change in the market. Typically, the consumer, the sellers, are usually the last ones to get it. Maybe they're a little bit more stubborn. I don't blame them. It's their house. But prices are coming down, and you're probably going to have to lower your price at some point. When you're competing with a brand new home down the road, not too far from this, then you don't really have a choice. But one thing I was really surprised about was the fact that realtors don't have a lot of inventory in the Villages. They have some, but the majority of the inventory, even the pre-existing homes, are listed with the Villages, the VLS agents. So, they have a pretty good monopoly going on there as a builder, okay? But look at this. I'm over here on Zillow on the left. And let me switch over. Over here on Zillow on the left, there's 6 homes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's one down here below the map. Okay, 6 homes for sale in this area. This is Megason Road, Bexley Trail, and over here you got, we're pretty close, but the map's off slightly. But you have 6 homes, 7 homes it says. So there's another one here. If I go to the Villages right here, same road, Megason, Bexley, you got Morris Boulevard over here. If I count all these up here too, there's 30. I'm about 27. Okay? So there's 4 times the inventory with the Villages than there is with an agent. I was actually quite surprised about this. Very surprised. I thought the agents would have more of the inventory, and they don't, especially pre-existing. I think that inventory in the Villages is very high. If you look at Zillow only, it's not. There's only 350 homes. So here's one thing I do notice between, with agents, especially the agents doing videos in the Villages. It's kind of funny. I mean, there's some good ones that do some good videos. I like them. They're funny to watch. But one thing they always try to do is tell you that you do need a VLS agent, but you have to work with a real estate agent too. The problem is they don't have a lot of inventory. And when they actually do their figures, their numbers for the price fluctuations in the Villages, they're not getting anywhere near the whole picture. Nowhere near what's going on. And now with the new construction being discounted, it's even worse. Okay? What's going to happen in Villages, and probably a lot of Florida in a lot of these areas that have seen massive ramp-ups in prices over the last 3 years, you're going to see them probably the most significant declines too. So expect that to happen. But if I look down here in Lake Denham, there's Newell. I did a video about 2 weeks ago on Newell, and they listed some newer homes here that have been sitting off the market. But all these were discounted. These are pre-existing. Okay, but all these here, these were new, these 3, these 2, and then they stuck more on here after, but they seem to disappear again. But these homes are not on, they weren't on their site, and they put them up here, but look, they're discounting. 20 grand on this house. That's still too high. There's no gables. Okay, notice the gables, right? This is a gable. They just add some character. Now, sometimes you'll have like this, and it may add some attic space. Okay? But they do add character, and I think the resale, it helps in the resale value. But look over here. Popsicle. Pistol. What? What the hell? Who the hell named that? Anyways, 489 down 26 grand. Okay? Let's look at this. That was down 20. We already saw that one. Let's look at this one next to it. 19 grand. Pretty home. Look at this. Pretty home. 35K. Let's look at this. Down 51,000. I can see why it's not a very pretty home. That's kind of ugly, actually. So these were marked down. But then what happened is I'm looking again at some other stuff. I'm looking down here in Lake Denham, Dabney. I'm like, well, they're discounting new homes in Newell. But are they discounting new homes in the newer sections? And then I found that yes, they're starting to discount homes in the newer sections of Dabney and Lake Denham. And I was surprised. You can find a bunch of homes here that have been discounted. Let's get rid of that. Let's do it by low to high. Okay. And then I started finding homes that have been discounted quite a bit. And they all started about the $300,000 range. But if I keep looking, and you'll see a bunch pop up here. Sorry, I know I'm scrolling pretty quick. But there's a bunch of homes in the newer section now discounting. So you'll see them here. That one's about $5 or $6 grand. But there's more than that in here. Okay, look at this. Discounts. You'll find a bunch. So if you keep looking in these areas, you'll find discounted homes. Now, what do you think that's going to do to existing homes in the villages? When you have builders marking down the properties that are brand new, it's going to put pressure on the existing homes north of this area. So that, to me, seems to be what probably realtors should keep an eye on. I would keep an eye on that, especially for my client. I want to know what's going on down here, too. I want to know if they're really discounting all these properties as much as they're discounting the ones up here in Newell. And I need to know that my client's property is priced correctly, because there is a fine line. My opinion is there's a fine line between what someone will pay for a pre-existing home or existing home than it will a new one. Yes, they will buy an existing home up north, maybe near closer to entertainment, some restaurants, some shopping. To a certain point, they're not going to pay $100 grand more, $75,000 more for an existing home over a new home build that may be newer, have bigger square foot, possibly more baths. They're not going to pay more for the existing home north. They will save that money, especially when rates are near 7.5%. Okay, so you have to be very careful what's going on with some of these properties. I see quite a bit. I mean, and I see discounts going on in the typical price ranges that were pretty good for the villages. So this is 1,441 square foot. So they're getting this home down to $200 a square foot near it. There's more. 10,000 off. What's this? 8,000 off. 7. Whoa. Oh no, 6. Quite a bit. 6. So anyways, you'll find it quite a bit in this area. So feel free to go to Village's website. You can take a look. I think they're smart to do it. You got to get rid of inventory. They don't make any money. They got to pay all these people building all these homes, and they got to sell them. Okay. Now let's look at mortgage rates real quick, and let's run some calculations on that. So if I'm looking here, I'm looking at Florida mortgages. There's Florida, state of Florida, with a 720 FICO. And if I put, let's go to 10% down. Okay. Now, what's even worse, let's go to 20% down. Because what I find funny is that if you put 20% down instead of 10, the rates are higher. They're actually dinging you. So 20% down, 720 FICO, $300,000 loan, okay, is 7.421%. So if I look over here, 300,000, 30-year fixed, let's go to 7.421%. My payment is $2,081 a month. That's principal and interest only. That does not include taxes and insurance. Okay, or well, you don't have flood down this area. It's quite a bit. Now let's go back to what it was 2 years ago at 3%. It's about $750 to $800 a month difference. That's a lot. When again, I want you to understand what I just said a little while ago is that the average income in the villages is 60 grand. So when you have an $800 per month increase in housing affordability, it's going to push a lot of people from coming here. That's quite a bit. Now, not just here, almost anywhere in the country, because we're all going to pay higher rates. But that's really the end-all be-all for what's going on in the real estate market, is that rates are so much higher, and they're dinging you for putting more money down. Now, it doesn't get better until you put 25% down. You notice it? So if I put 25% down and my loan amount's $300K, okay, at 6.99, it's $1,994, but it's not that much of a savings. 7.427, well, 421. It's $100, big whips. But if you look, 2.75, some of my friends got 1225. It was cheaper to get this, buy this house at 2.75 with taxes and insurance than it is now just to buy it at 7.421. That's what's changed in the market. That's what the Federal Reserve has done. It's destroyed a lot of the ability, the buying power of the public. And that's something you have to listen and you have to keep an eye on, okay? Let's look at one more thing. I don't want to be too long in this video. Let's look at bonds. So I pulled up a couple bonds. I won't tell you, I did not know that bonds had an interest rate. How dumb am I, right? Well, in my area, we just don't do bonds. We don't do bonds here. The way the Villages is doing them, at least. Okay. So look at this. I mean, this is a bond on the left. This was a couple years old, 2020. It started at 37 grand. But if I look at the interest. If I don't pay that off early, I'm paying $24,000 in interest. Plus, there's an admin fee of $4,300. So my total bond is $65K. So if there's one advantage to existing homes north of 44, is that bond will be lower or possibly a little bit north of that, even paid off between the sixes. Okay? But you really don't even start hitting this balance until about 10 years in. Then your principal is finally matching your interest. Okay? 2031. Well, let's go over here. This is a little bit more expensive home, as obviously the bond's higher. This was just done this year, very recent. So the bond's 51.6. But look at the interest, 50 grand, 100% interest over 30 years. Look at the admin fee, $7,200. So their total price for this bond, if I don't pay it off early, don't make any extra payments, is 109 grand. One thing I do want to note is that I was quite surprised about was that the admin fee changes based on the bond, how expensive the bond is, which I thought was kind of ludicrous in my opinion. It doesn't cost any more to cast a check of this house than it does of this one, so I don't know why the admin's more. All right. But at the same time, this is one advantage of the existing homes north. Maybe except for some upgrades that somebody may do to the property. The bond's going to be cheaper. That's just the way it is. So you can take it for what it is, look at the bond, but don't make it your prime decision. A lot of those homes, remember, have been around for 20, 30 years. And they're going to need some work, as all homes will in 30 years. So take it for what it is. Anyways, I just want to show you a couple things. Rates are up. They're not falling like the media is saying they are. You put 20% down, they're dinging you more than if somebody put 3% down. It doesn't get better till you hit 25% down. And then the Villages, the Zillow, they have about 350 homes in the market. Let's go back to this. Villages, Zillow has about 350 homes in the market. I'm guessing the Villages has about 3 or 4 times that. You're looking at least 1,000 extra homes in the Villages themselves. Plus, that does not include new builds. Add a few more hundred there at least. And there is no shortage of inventory. And with them discounting properties down here in the new builds, it's going to put pressure on these guys over here who just bought in the last 4 or 5 years. So expect prices, my opinion is, still to come down. Rates still are not going to change anything. The Federal Reserve, when they make changes, seem to take too long to react because their data's old by the time they get it. So anyways, have fun today. My name is Mark at Gilbo Realty. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down below. Let me know what you think about the bonds. I didn't know bonds charge interest rate. I was baffled. But if you have any questions, throw them in the comments down below. Tell us what you think. If you live in the Villages, post it down below. Let us know. It's a beautiful area. I think it's great. I think they've done a great job of building this area up. I think it's getting big. And hopefully you guys enjoy your holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And if you have any questions on the Villages, give me a holler. Thanks. Have a good day.